that's a failure for that roster. That roster is so damn good, they should win everything, and I will stand by that 100%. But anyway, coming back into this particular game, we do see the Aphelios priority coming back in here this particular time around. We actually see a slight draft difference here for OMG, taking away the Jason, so that you cannot just kind of first rotation that, but it does mean you've left open something like the Nico, and you talked about how a lot of people say, oh, Yagao, he's a fantastic facilitator in that mid lane. This is a hard engaged champion with a hell of a lot of ways to kind of catch you off guard. This feels like it's right up Yagao's alley.
Yeah, a lot of teams have been experimenting with this Nico ever since she got her change where she can transform into anything. But I need to remind the audience, and of course OMG, that a normal wave is 3 melee minions and 3 casters, and a caster minion wave is 3 melees, 1 cannon minion and 3 casters. Just 7 and 6, alright? Count your minions when you do go towards those team fights. But Aki picking up the Wukong into something like the Vi is definitely the way to go, because I think when Aki is given the opportunity to engage and look for those flanks onto the enemy carry, that is when OMG gets a clear kind of direction in these team fights. And we see Creme opting into the Ahri once again, but hopefully this time having a better matchup in that mid lane, he is going to be able to play towards his side lanes.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're seeing the mid jungle's kind of locked in again, and looking for Elk again. I was gonna say he can be very confident locking in this particular one, and again, you're probably gonna have to ban the Blitzcrank, maybe the Nautilus, but you cannot ban all 3. So this is definitely a bit of a pigeonhole here for the side of OMG, and they won't get the Lulu themselves either. So BLG, honestly, I feel like they're very happy on this red side, and we're kind of seeing this kind of shift again, where we always see it, we always talk about it. It's always kind of discussed within all the leagues and stuff like that. It's like, which is stronger, red or blue? And it does feel like when you're able to get those first 2 rotations and the first pick after the second round of bans, red side is just kind of, and counter pick, it just feel like red side is just kind of coming back to being that very, very powerful side of the map, and teams are very happy to go for it.
Yeah, we usually see that 5th position or counter position safe for the top lane for, just a tiny bit of a better matchup when it does come to a tank 1v1. But I think BLG is one of those rare instances where they do save the counter pick for a better chance in the 2v2 for that bottom lane. And I think Ppgod is really going to struggle with how he matches up against On's champion pool, because we still have a lot of things open. We already have 2 of the most defensive champions gone from the pool, which is Braum and Braum and Lulu. So maybe Ppgod does go for something like the Thresh, where he is able to help out Abe when it does come to these team fights, where we see BLG having a lot of lockdown with the Vi and Nautilus.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no reason not to go for this one here. They could have went for the Blitzcrank as well, but now OMG maybe thinking that they can put Ppgod on something a little bit more disengaging. You're going to have that hostile takeover now with the Renata Glask, and maybe they can look to try and kind of catch it. The fact that there is such a low tier on BLG. You've got things like the Xayah and of course the Vi, which have to be up in your face in order to kind of do their damage. And now OMG, you're going to be picking in blind. Do they have enough faith in the Rumble? That is the question before they want to lock it in.
OMG's full sending it on fighting within these jungle chokes, locking in that Rumble for Shanji on day 1 of summer for OMG. I mean, Bin, he is just going to play the classic tank where they are looking for those 5v5s, but OMG locking in so much damage. So hopefully they get their items online quick, because it's kind of hit or miss, to say the least.
Definitely. Look, an equalizer can be one of the most OP abilities in the game, and also one of the worst, and definitely can have a range of impact depending on where and when it is able to be utilized. But apart from the mid jungle, we are seeing an incredibly similar composition coming out here for BLG. They're very happy with how Bin was able to kind of navigate with this Gragas. In fairness, I think most people were, if you're a Bin enjoyer. And Elk just kind of popping off, continuing his form from MSI now into this summer split. And on the other side here, like you said, you're looking to try and combo in, get that Cyclone down on multiple members, use that equalizer to put down your damage. But for OMG, it's about kind of, again, similar situation. There's so much single target lockdown. There's so much AoE for you to deal with that the Aphelios, I don't know if he's going to be able to kind of plant his feet and do the damage, similar how he couldn't do it in game number 1.
Yeah, like you said, an exact copy of Game 1's draft for the side of BLG, but the main difference for me is that mid lane matchup. We have Nico up against Ari, where Yagao might struggle a little bit when it does come to that lane party, or at least pushing in the wave to allow Shun to make similar ganks towards that AD carry of OMG. So we'll have to see how BLG plays this early game out, because we see how vulnerable a flashless bottom lane is, and Aki on this Wukong this time around, he needs to go towards bot lane, because if Abel isn't able to kind of get onto those, if Abel isn't able to get onto those kind of nice, I'm sorry guys, I'm still jet lagged, but if Aphelios doesn't get his items, and Rumble, I mean, we see Shanji struggling a little bit in the early game trying to get a decent laning phase, but he often doesn't show up until those later game team fights. But hopefully Aki can have a better sense of direction.
Yeah, you got there in the end. It's all right, Katie. You had an entire MSI doing content for the Chinese side. Yeah. Yeah, no, you got to go stream now as well. You can't forget about that as we do jump ourselves into game number 2 of this best of 3s. Yagao and On just kind of pushing forward, saying they're going to be a little bit more aggressive. Wait to see kind of thing. And again, look, probably going to be very similar to game number 1, where not really a lot is going to probably happen for the first few levels. We're going to wait till teams get their level 6, and then that's when action can tend to take the forefront. But for now, definitely going to be seeing a lot of farming, a lot of, you know, small little vision control, little pockets, and we'll see how teams want to go for it. I would love to see OMG really try to punish in this top side. You've got the Ignite Shanji, you have got lane push as well with the Comet, so I would love to see them kind of go for something a little bit more aggressive, and that's exactly what they're trying to do right now. They're looking for a little bit of a late invade to try and make sure that they're getting all the information, but this information has been garnered by BLG. They should know, with the red buff being warded and with the top laner of Bin going in to check on that blue, that this is a red side invade.
You already see Shun making his way towards this red side, which is a complete flip for OMG and cutting off the bottom lane of the Aphelios and Ranada once again. So I'm getting a little bit worried with this choice being made from the jungler of OMG, but the highlight of this game is definitely Nico and Yagao playing this champion for game 2, where we've seen it a couple of times in the LPL so far. And I want your take on this, because we've seen a lot of, let's say, inconsistent engages out of our mid laners in the LPL. And I think Nico only has a 40% win rate so far with how high presence she is in the current meta.
Yeah, I think definitely Nico's one of those things that, this is going to sound pretty scathing, I suppose, for some of the other teams, but she is a champion that needs a good pilot, shall we say, for it to have the highest kind of setup. But here we go. They're going to jump straight in on the Ppgod. He has nowhere to go, and he is dead. The hook onto Abel as well. His ghost, his flash is down. One more auto attack to Elk. BLG, rinse and repeat, and they've already got themselves 2 kills.
You just can't flip the map for this bottom lane. Abel and Ppgod burning all of their summoners, I mean, outside of the Ignite, and BLG getting another 2 kills at 3 minutes in the game. And this is just going to repeat, because we know that On is just going to get the CC onto the bottom lane of OMG's Ppgod once again, and this is going to be a repeat of game 1. The bottom lane is just trying so hard to scale, but Aki is not pathing towards them fast enough.
Yeah, I mean, I love what On did there as well. He flashes in, gets the auto attack down onto Ppgod and goes, cool, you're dead. I don't need to do anything else here. Immediately turns his focus onto Abel and gets, it again, the 2 kills. They could have just been happy with the 1, but no, he knew they could get the 2. Really, really good heads-up play there from BLG. And again, it comes down to the information they were able to get. They said, cool, we have a ward on red. We know they're not taking their own blue, so now we know that we're in a good position here to be able to try and go for this play. And OMG just didn't respect it. OMG didn't have the information, and they get punished.
Unfortunately, they didn't have the information, but I think just from instinct, they should know that Shun was going to go towards their own red buff and look for a level 2 gank, and the hook connects once again.
Yeah, I mean, this is over. There's nothing you can do here as Abel. you're just done. Hex flash into a hook, and once those feathers are down, you are dead. And this is almost identical to how we talked about bot lane went in game number 1. Once the Aphelios loses that flash, there is just no coming back. You have no way of stopping this Nautilus, and it's why I keep saying that, yes, enchanters give you scaling. Enchanters give you so many ways of kind of, you know, coming into a game and you know, becoming unbelievably... but you gotta get to the late game. Nautilus is insta-CC. CC is always relevant.
This is tough, and we're looking like we're going to see another Kraken Slayer rush from Elk very early on in the game. And I believe even in game 1, it was a relatively slow start because BLG were kind of hesitant on pulling the engage buttons, but now they know they're just going from ever since the 3-minute point. And we already see On making his proactive plays towards his middle lane. Maybe even a flash burn from the side of Creme if he's not too careful. Oh, barely.
Barely. But, I mean, Aki now is going to be in a lot of trouble, you would imagine, if he gets hit by that Q. Doesn't get hit by the Q, so should be able to kind of walk himself away. But this could be a very early dragon stacking again from the side of BLG. So for me, I'm just kind of thinking for OMG, you got to, honestly, I know this is going to sound bad, but cut your losses, bot. Go top. Look for pressure around this top lane. Get Shanji ahead so he becomes that mid-game monster. But again, it's just so difficult until Aki gets level 6 because they don't have any lockdown for this Gragas.
And the most annoying thing is that you're versing a Gragas, so he's never really going to drop low enough to the point where you can get a successful dive onto Bin. And we all know that he is more than happy to outplay you in a 1v2 situation. Something else that I wanted to highlight is, of course, the Summoner spell choice for the support of OMG, where he decided to take Ignite.
Oh my god.
Oh, these hooks are making me a little woozy, but this is going to be the 1v2 situation, but I don't know if they're going to be able to execute this without the ultimate.
Gonna look to try and dub into it, but they should be able to get themselves nicely done. Aki taking the first little bit of tower tanking means that OMG do get themselves a kill on that top side. And honestly, exactly what they need to keep doing. Keep doubling down on this top side. Bot lane's a lost cause until that flash comes back up.
Yep, Ignite was not the choice in this game. Maybe something like the heal or maybe something like the exhaust, but I just don't think OMG expected Shun to flip the map and play only towards that bottom side that made Abel so far behind this early in the game. But hopefully we get to see some losses being cut. Like you said, playing towards that top side, but Creme's in trouble.
Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble. He's not going to be able to get away from this, you would imagine. He's still ticking down. He flashes, but only to waste the summoner spell as Yagao flashes right back onto him. And Shun, much like game number 1, having a fantastic game number 2 at setting up his lanes.
I see a bit of a repeat, Oisin. This game is playing like exactly from game 1, but we see that OMG's 2 lane towards the bottom and the mid lane is that they're struggling to get any lane party, and that is once again affecting Aki and how he's able to make plays around the map, because he's currently level 5. He really needs level 6. But you need to also consider the fact that Elk is now level 6, and he has Flash, he has Ghost, he has everything. So how do you realistically bring Abel back into the game where he is, I believe, 2 waves behind?
I love this as well from BLG. They let On go back early, so he's about a couple of seconds ahead of the rotation. He might be able to go mid. What happen here? Ward does just go down, so they should just see him on his rotation, and they do know exactly where he's going to be, but again, BLG saying, look, you got a Rift Herald in game number 1. We're not going to allow a Rift Herald to be taken in game number 2. They're just constantly keeping the pressure here onto OMG. It's beautiful to watch as well, to be perfectly honest. Creme, though, he gets caught. He's going to get CC down. You knew the Nautilus was in the area. And On is just he's here to play.
On is having a fantastic series so far, landing every single hook. I mean, he has missed one, but just by a millimeter as BLG secures this Rift Herald without any problem at all. Creme had to burn the flash and the ultimate from the earlier gank out of Shun, and I just don't think he should be able to stand up that far ahead without anyone shadowing him. I mean, he did have the Renata shadowing him, but you're a Renata. And he saw him but I just don't know what Creme was thinking here.
Yeah, oh, we're going back to live in a 1v1. Can Abel do it? The good flash! Ooh, Elk just about does it, but will the minions finish him off? No, the health pot keeps him going. Ppgod looking to avenge his AD carry. He adds himself a little bit of a bailout to get extra move speed, but not going to be able to hit it, and that is going to be the 1v1 going over to Elk. A lot closer than he probably was thinking.
There's a bit of a gap somewhere. I'm not gonna say anything, but I think Ppgod just went from mid lane to bottom lane, and his ADC unfortunately got 1v1.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
this is gonna be Ppgod falling down to spin. Not having a great time with this one here, and Shanji flashes over to follow him down. So OMG still have a small respite, but look, it's a rumble against everybody else now. It's a rumble versus the world, Kitty.
Cover the bottom side of the map and only look at Aki and Shanji, and we're still in a peaceful situation. Don't pretend that Abel's going to die within the next 20 seconds.
He's dead.
Someone
Aki and Ppgod are coming. They do have the hostile takeover, and he's got plenty of healing with that ultimate on the Severum, so maybe they're going to try and lock him down now. They do. They kill him. It's just a little bit too little too late, and BLG have found themselves a nice way of making this one work. Creme is going to be forced to try and use his ultimate, but he's not going to be able to get out of it just yet. Has to burn both of those 2 extra charges, and that means that in mid and in bot, BLG own the map with 30 seconds till Dragon. They're just ahead of the curve.
And this is going to be the replay of how Abel died in that 1v1. It's just level 5 versus level 7. He didn't have the ultimate available either, which could have made the difference in this 1v1 because he did dodge out on the Xayah ultimate. And it did just mean that 1 HP difference. And unfortunately, Ppgod wasn't able to get the Flash Ignite.
Is that actually 1 HP? I'm actually curious now. But apparently, look, I'm going to call a spade a spade. The fact that Abel was 2 levels down, it was actually 8 HP. I just had a quick check there on it there. But the fact that Abel was 2 levels down and almost a full item as well, and he nearly comes out of that 1v1 with a kill, that should say a lot about it. But Aki has been spotted out here as they look to try and maybe go for a Hex Flash. They will burst him down before he can go anywhere, and they'll get him. The hostile takeover is fantastic, though. As Elk gets caught out just a little bit more, he does have his ultimate to try and throw out. And yeah, after everything's all said and done, there's only a flicker of light to try and help OMG. BLG are looking to decimate this game right now. They are looking to smash the kind of record, I suppose, of quickest game and hold it from week 1.
I think I was sniffing some hard copium thinking that OMG had the chance to fight their inner choke because their entire composition, I mean, you had the perfect engage or at least ultimate coming out of Ppgod where it hit 3 people, and Elk being insanely fed, this is the most you're gonna get out of Ironata, but you just don't have the damage to finish Elk off. Not having that summoner spell either. It's just such a painful situation to be BLG, and we don't see much coming out of Creme in this game too, and I just want to see some synergy out of the R and the Wukong. You have so much mobility, you have the ability to make potential picks onto the enemy team, but he's just sitting mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, you could even see like the fact that he didn't have his Spirit Rush in that last fight because he lost it trying to get away from Yagao. It meant that he didn't feel confident. He moved away. He didn't want to go in because he felt like if he went too far forward to try and kill Elk, he doesn't have resets. He can't get out. It's little things like that. And I mean, like 207 on the Nautilus. He's nearly 1,500 gold ahead of his counterpart. The AD carry is nearly 2,000 gold on its own. 1,000 gold in the jungle. Like, this is a 6,000 gold lead nearly at 13 minutes. And I mean, it's just going to get worse, Kitty. Like, even though Bin is like, oh, 600 gold down. Yeah, he's 0 and 2. It doesn't matter. He's a Gragas. And it's even now I'm looking at him kind of going with an Everfrost. He might even be able to go for a kill if he really wanted to.
It's okay. The timeline is that Elk's ultimate's going to get burnt and he's going to get roasted by Shanji. That's the angle. He's going to get fed this game.
I mean, look, I am one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Shanji fan. I have been for a very long time as a Rumble aficionado myself. But I mean, there's hopium, there's copium, and then there's this. You know, there is levels to the amount I'm willing to be delusional.
No one likes a one-sided game, but I think Shanji on this Rumble, they saw what was wrong with the draft from last game is that Shanji was on a tank. But this time, although Abel is just as behind on the Aphelios, at least they have someone else that can provide the damage when it comes to these 5v5s. Unfortunately, we haven't seen Rumble join any of these fights just quite yet, as we see Creme going 0-3 and 0 in this top lane as he gets going.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's just not a lot really else to, kind of go for, and it's just, it is what it is. Look, BLG are kind of proving. Look, I suppose we can kind of go into it and say, like, yes, for BLG, you know, making it to summer play, making it to finals, no one really expected that. They weren't supposed to be the team. I think Draco's put it in, you know, they weren't supposed to beat Gen G, they weren't supposed to beat T1, and they did it. And honestly, I think it's now getting to a point, if they can keep up this consistency past week 1, into week 2, into week 3, where all of a sudden we're talking about these teams just kind of smashing team after team after team. This is just a good team. This is just a team that can, you know, kind of push themselves to the top 2 of the league. And honestly, the more I kind of see them, the more I'm very impressed. I still love that we get Bin kind of on his patented, you know, kind of feeding, I suppose, every now and again. But for me, it's just got to be, you know, little by little, bit by bit. We should be able to get something. Yagao, though, will die to this gank in the bot lane, as Aki is fairly strong on this Wukong. And that is just one little small kill in a line of kills they're going to need to get in the next while.
Yeah, and bringing it back to MSI, I mean, BLG is the team that had the most games played at that tournament, 8 best of 5s in a row, because they went all the way from play-ins to that MSI finals. And I think just the amount of games that they were able to mold together really did mean the synergy is top-notch out of, I think, everyone. I mean, you see Shun and On struggling a little bit at the start of MSI, but by the end, you already see how proactive they are continuing into the summer split, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon, because I think mainly out of On that he has such great visions and pick opportunities when he is given the champions like the Blitzcrank, Rakan, and even Nautilus now, where it gives such a great sense of direction that BLG is able to bounce off it perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for me is, like, you know, BLG between spring playoffs and MSI played 12 best of 5s. I think it was a total of like 47 games or something like that. Like, that's insane. They played more games in a, you know, between playoffs and MSI than some teams had played in their regular split all year. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to think that that's, you know, with the level of gameplay and how many games that this team has actually had to be, you know, this team had to be kind of, you know, put into it. And the thing is, pressure and you know, heat forges diamonds. That's how this works, really, for these teams, is that when you're put under the, you know, the pressure of it, yes, it is exceptionally difficult, but once you're able to work with it, it can lead to absolutely fantastic results. And now we are going to see Creme getting knocked up, hit by the hook, and he is dead. The equalizer used, and it's not really going to do a hell of a lot after it. Aki trying to jump onto Elk, who does have flash and ghost, doesn't use it just yet. Finally forced to use that as the hostile takeover, nearly able to keep on in the fray of it, but Shanji has to flash in, and now Ppgod and Abel, the only ones left, are looking to try and see if they can turn this one around, but the Moonlight Vigil will hit absolutely nobody. And look, it's a decent fight from OMG. They got a couple of things going right, but even when things went right, it all went wrong.
That really did seem like the only opportunity for them to come back into the game, but I don't understand how Creme is the one getting caught first when it does come to these team fights, because you have the ultimate, you have the flash, and Yagao, I mean, he just proto-belted towards you and it connected somehow, unfortunately, from one pick to another. And I believe Bin, the entire fight, was just zoning out the bottom lane of OMG, where this was a 2v4 at the very end and just didn't have the damage to finish them off. Aki trying so desperately hard, but On just barely lived on 1 HP.
Yeah, I mean, even the fact that Shanji has to flash, sealing his fate,
he didn't live,
saying,
he died.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was had to commit everything to it. And again, that was a good hostile takeover that completely got Elk away from the fight. It was a good cyclone that stopped people from, you know, kind of, you know, or able to get on top of Elk. It didn't matter. 7-0 and 5. Yagao here with Shun, trying to see if they can take away some of these camps right now. As what is he right now? He's a ward. I am very excited to see how creative the teams can be, but Look, it is just going to be even more difficult now. It's a 7,000 gold leader just underneath it, 19 minutes into the game, and you're already at soul points. 4 minutes from now, you're going to have a Cloud Soul, which is exceptional for someone like a Vi, a Nico, a Nautilus, and of course a Xayah. They all benefit from that extra move speed so much. And even just obviously on the activation of their ultimates, it's just fantastic for getting people, even just the Xayah, to get her out of a sticky situation.
Yeah, being in OMG's shoes, not having that vision control is going to be extremely tough, as we see them dropping 2 ultimates onto Bin. He still has the ultimate available, so he's just gonna get out fine, and that is Rumble or gone. So if BLG want to, they can start the Baron.
That's not where that spawns. That's not where that spawns. That's not where that spawns.
Oh, he's the plant.
Yeah, he needs to be a little bit further down, and he could maybe go for it. But I mean, this is just a straight up Baron at 20 minutes. That's why they're kind of like pushing for this right now. And look at him on the camera. He's took his hands off the keyboard and everything. He is chilling right now. He is chilling. Yagao, please. There's only so much I can do, and here we go. Will this work? Will it work? Will it work? It will! And that's what you want to be seeing. Yagao, patient as ever, gets himself his kill. The hunter finds his prey.
And once again, 4v5 situation for the side of OMG, having no vision whatsoever. So it does seem like BLG is going to scrap this win up with the Baron. And of course, the Ahri going into the pockets as well. But this is tough. This is a really tough game machine, because Yagao he seems like he's having the time of his life.
Honestly, it doesn't look like it's any kind of sweat to him right now. And this is why the Nico is what I was talking about. You were saying only a 40% win rate on the week. Nico definitely requires a decent pilot to be able to make it as broken as it can be. And it's even little things like that that can just make it so difficult to deal with. Bin is trying his very best to keep OMG in the game, but even he can't let this 0-3-0 can't even get this team back into it. And again, look, you're going towards Elk on his 3rd item. He's got the Storm Razors and the Gale Force, excuse me, but we are going to see them kind of, pushing towards a lot of different kind of things. Maybe Yagao goes for it again. He looked for another Scry's Orb. This is beautiful. I love the Adam well, because they're kind of saying, look, we could be boring, go for a minion or anything like that, but he recognizes, hey, it's a Cloud Rift, which means there's going to be more Scry's blooms anyway. He is a minion.
Yagao's a minion. He's looking.
He's looking. They know though. He took a weird route. He definitely took a weird route. His pathing was definitely not on point, but I mean, what can you do here now as OMG? Baron was taken. You still have that for 1 minute and 40. Just not really a lot you can do. Even with a good handshake, it just doesn't make a difference.
I think the only opportunity OMG can come back into the game is if Shanji's able to hit a 5-man ultimate, but BLG sitting in the mid wave.
Count your minions.
They counted. They definitely counted, but BLG is just going to push towards that bottom side, as they just have no vision to walk up into this jungle. And maybe they force something in the jungle where Shanji's able to get something done on this Rumble, but come on, guys. This is a slow death for the side of OMG.
I mean, look, they've got decent wave clear with the Ahri in the Rumble, and of course the Aphelios with decent guns to fight, but you're losing on the bot wave. You're maybe okay on the top side. Looks like it's slow pushing back in favor of OMG, but it ain't pretty and it ain't good, as they're just kind of constantly taking bombardment by these cannon minions there, as the tower is already down to about just above a third of its HP. Bin hasn't had any involvement in any of the 16 kills. He is 0-3 and 0. Yes.
I need to pause you. So Twitch chat just told me that the minion that Nico transforms to doesn't have the Baron buff on it, as you can tell in this wave. So that's the only reason why he's exposed.
That's why it's exposed. And speaking of exposed, On goes a little bit too far forward as they look to try and get a hook there onto Creme. As Shanji goes gold. That was one barrel, buddy. I don't think it was necessarily that big of a thing. Yagao is now on. I don't think that's going to help you be sneaky about this, but now Shun was away from his team as they look to try and stop this soul. Flash away, and now they can take this away for themselves. No, he smites too early. And no, that's just too bad there for OMG. They had an opportunity to make this one work. Hostile takeover, just not going to hit anything. And a little bit scrappy from BLG. They're having a little bit too much fun, but they still get the soul as Aki just couldn't get the smite down.
Unfortunately, like you said, a miss-smite coming out of Aki, which could have denied that Wind Dragon Soul, but I think if BLG is going to continue playing like this, where On is going to slip away and give some opportunities over to OMG, they still have this Avila who's slowly scaling. Although slow, he is still scaling. I don't know if I'm sniffing copium, but we see that champions like the Vi and Nautilus, once they go in, I mean, they can't really get back out. And if OMG plays off these mistakes, they could potentially come back. And let's ignore the Zhonyas, but I think this dragon not going towards the side of OMG is just really unfortunate because Aki definitely had it.
80 HP. Now Bin might be 0-4 and 0. No, has a little bit of extra healing from his passive, but Aki, get him down. Bin is not having a fun time, but you've committed 2 people bot side, which means that they can commit now onto Creme. He's dead. It's a great Moonlight Vigil, but not the right guns at the time. And Abel just about gets himself out alive, and you can see there 9,000 gold. Doesn't matter how much fun BLG are having, they are going to continue to destroy you. And now in a 4v4, I just don't see how you hold on to your base.
A really tough series for Creme to start up the summer split, but we know that he is a much better player. Maybe it's just being a little bit rusty as an engage from OMG.
They're looking for him. Aki does have him when On gets taken out, but Elk is the priority target because he can do stuff like that. Flash in with the feathers, gets himself all that beautiful damage, and now you're left with a 3v3, but Ppgod needs to go back to base.
Something's definitely very wrong in the game when you do see a Zai Gale forcing and flashing into you, because that is when you know. Come on, Yagao, we all know that's not the. How can he pretend that Zai is backing?
I don't know.
What are these interactions, Oisin?
I don't understand these. I would be curious to see if you know, because if you know the way Rakan and Zaya get the extra backing passive, I suppose, or recalling passive. I wonder if you're a Rakan. I'll have to check this. If you're the Rakan, if it would actually work in the same way, because it will give the animation. I just wonder if you'll just be left, you know, on your Larry, just by yourself.
Can we just keep the camera on Yagao for the rest of the game, please?
What's he turning into? Fork.
Wait, he's so slow.
Yes, he only has so much movement speed. But yeah, Baron up. We'll see Yagao just kind of pushing forward here, but with Elk already on it and on nearly 4 items, he should be able to thread this through. But you do have 2.5 on the Aphelios, and if there's 200 years have taught me anything, so never doubt an Aphelios' damage. Now we're going to see them kind of going in from two different fronts. They jump in. Creme gets caught up here and has to use the Spirit Rush over the wall, so he's lost that. Elk gets hit by the Equalizer, and he's kind of taken out of the fight a little bit. Yagao goes golden after using his ultimate, and he's now dead. BLG having a little bit too much fun around the big purple worm now in a 4v5.
Definitely the angle for OMG to take, and they need to rush this. This is their opportunity. 4v5.
4v5, they know they can go for his 4,000 HP on the Baron. OMG looking to have to try and make this one work for themselves now. You get Shun coming in, looking for a smite fight, but it is secured by the side of OMG. They get the fight afterwards. That is the big thing as Shanji burns down these health bars. Creme goes golden to make sure he doesn't die, and BLG, they're not done yet. They have to continue this game. I will say those super minions are in the base, so you will be able to get back here from the side of OMG, but they're not done just yet. BLG still have game to play.
They did it, and that's Baron going towards OMG, and a very sloppy fight coming out of BLG in particular. I think we had the ultimate going onto Creme, but this time he spirit dashed away, and he was able to survive that initial engage from the jungler of BLG, and Yagao sitting in the very middle. Unfortunately, this Nico ultimate without that flash is a little bit dopey, and he just missed everyone. As we saw, this ultimate from Shanji also getting Elk to half HP, so it was a really big struggle for him to just walk up and kind of participate in the fight. Although I think this fight still could have been winnable. The guns from Abel was insane, and they just rushed Baron. It was still a 50-50 flip, but Aki got this one.
Yes, still a 50-50, but Aki was able to kind of get him up. If you're going to choose between a Dragon and a Baron, I definitely choose Baron. And this is the thing now. This game gets a little bit tentative here for the side of BLG. You're now looking at a lot of items going to be able to be completed here for Abel. A lot of damage for Shanji as well. Elk wasn't really able in a position to kind of put himself to put out the damage. So now, still, actually, it's gone from a 9,000 gold lead to a 5,000 gold lead. It's going to be an Elder flip in 40 seconds. So come back into live, and you've got an Aphelios on 3 items. You have 4 items onto your Xayah carry as well. We'll have Flash very, very soon. You imagine the Ghost will be up for it as well. 0, 5, and 0 from Bin as he goes full AP, so he is not going to be able to tank up as much as he possibly can, or at least what he think he can. But while we were in that replay as well, a Nexus turret did go down to minions on the side of OMG, so they haven't got as much security, shall we say, as they might have thought.
And this is where it gets really tough because you want to kill either Abel or Shanji in these team fights, but Shanji does have that Zhonya, so your most ideal target would have to be the ADC of OMG, but now he has a Renata, and this is where it gets really annoying to get into these team fights. The hook misses.
Hook definitely misses there.
Just
on
barely.
loses his flash, and let's see now. Aki not quite caught out just yet. They know there's a ward there though, so he knows that he's going to be caught out. He's going to try and back end of the blue pit. Creme on a flank as well. It's going to be a double end to kind of say, now they know where he is, and they're going to try and jump on him, put out a decent amount of damage. They know exactly where that flank is coming from. Creme setting himself up onto this backside of the Dragon Pit as the Dragon gets taken to about 10,000 HP. There's going to be a great charm, and that's Elk forced into an immediate ultimate and flash away. The Nico's gone down. OMG crawling this one back. If they get the Elder off this one, it's huge. They've just been able to take Elk out of the fight, trying to heal up with that red buff and the extra little bit of damage from the Bloodthirster as well. We are going to see a TP coming in because there's a TP from Bin. Bin's going to look to try and end the game. He needs to go back straight away. They're going to try and end the game as quick as he possibly can, but a good Baron recall from Shanji means that he cannot go for it. Why did Elk get the
They got Elder!
Elk got Elder! I'm not quite sure how that happened, but On's going to be dying anyway. Shun looking to try and see if he can get away from this one here. Bin needs to try and get away, though. He can't take the Nexus turret because the inhibitor respawn. Now Creme looking to make sure he gets rid of any and all of these Elder Drake buffs as quick as he possibly can. The only person who gets it is going to be Bin, and he has to scurry himself away out of that base.
That is the craziest sequence of events I've ever seen in the LPL. We had the director going from Elder to base to Elder to base to the point where we only realized that BLG was able to secure this Elder Dragon because when Bin engaged onto Shanji, we saw the Elder buff coming out of the Gragas. But we have to see how this fight played out because we saw that obviously Elk got charmed by Creme earlier, but he's already back in the fight actually. So I don't know how he stole this. Was it just from the E feathers? Yes, it was.
With the smite from Shun as no smite from Shun, so you're right. It was just 1,300 damage from feathers alone. We go on, Kitty. We go on. The base is in tatters though for the side of OMG. The one thing I will say for OMG is that despite everything, they've not taken a single tower, so they have not got a lot of retail space, I suppose, or land, shall we say, to kind of put themselves forward. And they're going to have to be very, very careful. But I got to say, Shanji and Aki have been absolutely fantastic so far this game. The Rumble really, really putting Bin on this Gragas on the back foot. And there's just nothing that Gragas, this Gragas do. Again, you have 18 kills on your team, and the Gragas is 0, 5, and 0. That is not a good look here for Bin.
One good team fight is all it takes for BLG to end the game, but OMG's not giving any opportunities over. Abel does have the flash available now, and we've seen him tossing out a lot of damage with the Shuriken in particular, so we do need to wait for that cycle. I think Creme has found a lot of opportunities in the recent 2 team fights where getting his hands onto Elk, this Xayah is really struggling to do any DPS, and he doesn't have the flash either and no QSS, so he has to play very carefully if they want to close out this game.
I mean, I will. Still a lot of damage on Elk. Doesn't have his flash though. Unfortunately lost it in that last engagement. So Abel has that little summoner advantage over him. We do see Shun kind of waiting off to the wings now. And it looks like BLG had a little bit too much fun. They were having a little bit taking too much of a leisurely stroll to end this game. And now we're looking at gold lead means very little. This is a difficult position to be in now as BLG. The only kind of statement I mentioned earlier is that they've not lost a single tower. So the fact that they still have all of their outer towers means their straight up kind of control of the map is just so much stronger. And now we'll see Elk kind of posturing in this mid lane as Baron's going to spawn just in a second or two.
We do have the Guardians available for Aki as well, so he's not afraid to go in and send it.
Here we go. They're going to look to try and catch out 2, and they get themselves 2 up. Creme cannot make anything else happen. The hostile takeover does not land onto Elk, which means that he is just putting out consistent DPS. It's all onto Abel. He needs to save this game for the side of OMG, keep them in this series, and he will take down Yagao. But is it enough?
A 2-for-1 trade, and Baron is still up and available. So I don't know if On can get his fingers onto Abel here.
Yeah, they're going to flash him over, going to try and CC him down. He doesn't have flash anymore, but he's still ticking down this damage. Finally gets taken out. The Renata not in position to give him the bailout. That could have been very, very scary there for the side of BLG. But without Abel, without Shanji, I feel like this could just be game.
OMG definitely putting on a show for us in this game too, and it could have been a throw out of BLG. But with that fight going in favor of BLG, they're finally going to be able to get this mid inhib. They're not going to end the game. They're going to go for Baron. They've been kind of playing around way too much, so they're going to go the safe route and kind of suffocate the enemy base with this Baron buff.
I mean, it kind of makes sense if you think about it, because OMG's death timers are so staggered that Shanji's back up. You're going to have Creme kind of available there with Aki, so they just kind of said, look, it's a 3v4 at the moment, so, you know, they would have had to just actually, so we are going to continue on. BLG regain control. They've cracked open another inhibitor. They've brought themselves to only 2 towers left on the map in favor of OMG. We continue on left in this game. BLG having a bit too much fun, but it looks like they may have found themselves a little bit better of a fight once they started taking it seriously again.
With the start that Abel was given, I need to remind everyone that this guy was 0-5 at one point, alongside his support 0-3 and 0, but they have been really stepping up in the late game, rarely getting caught out. I think it's mainly been Creme being the one that has been getting engaged on by the side of BLG, but we see how annoying this enchant and hypercarry is at this 35-minute mark, but they just have to play front to back. They can't do any face checking because they will get one shot like Shanji in the previous fight.
Yeah, that's literally, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and assume that because Yagao was, as Xayah, not auto-attacking minions as quick as a Xayah would, that they probably know it's not not the actual Xayah herself, but Elk level 18, highest level in the game, alongside Shanji. And this is what it's all about. Hook does land. They're going to try and jump in and burst out Creme, and they do just that. The hostile takeover is fantastic. And Elk is already in a lot of trouble, but there's just too many feathers. Bin on the backside finally gets himself an engage, and that is going to be the game. It's a clean 5-0. The ace comes in for BLG, and they will take themselves a 2-0. It was clean until it wasn't, but a 2-0 is a 2-0 nonetheless.
And it started with On landing every single hook onto the carries of OMG, and it ends with On landing that last final hook onto Creme, and they're going to be able to take the series away 2-0 up against OMG.
A great return there for BLG into the league. Of course, a lot of question marks about how they would come in, and honestly, they look just as good and also as bad as they did when they left. There's definitely some sus performances there, but again, I definitely think that for OMG, look, you're going up against a very kind of, you know, I suppose, what's the word I'm looking for? Seasoned, I suppose, at this stage, team in BLG. They have not really had a rest, but it doesn't look like it's kind of phased them. And for OMG, you are going to have to reset yourself. I do feel like Creme just was a passenger on this entire series. You know, someone that we've been hyping up for a couple of seasons.